This is a special presentation of Way 31 Sports. Way 31, your home for high school football.
It's the McCurry Big Game Friday night. Hello, Alabama, find a comfortable spot. We got high school football and it's coming out high. Now here we are and the lights are shining bright. Yeah, Way 31 is rocking all right. Nolan, Max, Xavier, and Antonio. It's the McCurry Van and Car Rental Big Game Friday night.
History on the line for both schools as Priceville and Randolph battle it out for the 4A Region 8 title in our Big Game Friday night Game of the Week.
Well, in our rivalry Game of the Week, it's a 7A Region 4 showdown. Huntsville must defeat the region winners to clinch a playoff spot. Hello and welcome into Big Game Friday night, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. Week 9 of the regular season is here, which means that tonight region champs will be crowned.
And it's not just region champs on the line. Playoff positioning also up for grabs throughout the state.
Yeah, and maybe the biggest matchup of the week took place at our Big Game Friday night Game of the Week, where the Randolph Raiders were hosting Priceville with the 4A region title up for grabs. And for more on the game, we'll head out to Randolph, where Xavier Wary was on the sidelines.
Yeah, history will be made here tonight one way or another. A 7-1 Raiders team comes into this one having arguably their best season in school history as they look to capture their first ever region championship. On the flip side for the Priceville Bulldogs, they come into this one at 9-0 as they look to have their first ever undefeated season and capture their second ever region championship. So how did this one play out? This is our Big Game Friday night Game of the Week.
Out at Randolph for this Class 4A Region 8 championship matchup where the 7-1 Randolph Raiders host the 9-0 Priceville Bulldogs. And early in the first, Randolph with the ball. Quarterback Andrew Hunter drops back to pass and he slings it downfield looking for Grayson Davenport. The pass is tipped, and check out Mason Carty with this diving interception, forcing the Raiders turnover. On the ensuing Bulldog possession, Jason Brickett takes the snap and on a rare passing play for the Bulldogs, connects with Mason Carty for a big Priceville first down. However, they would fail to score on this possession, but that wouldn't be the case for Randolph on their next possession. Hunter fires this one to Davenport, and one spin move later, he's in for 6 for the first points of the ball game. Raiders up 7. And on Randolph's next possession, Hunter is going to look for Ron Campbell on this passing play, but check out Blitz Clemens and this stingy Bulldogs defense as they come up with their second turnover of the first half and trying to get some points on the board before the half ends. Xander Gaines takes his handoff and cuts it upfield for a big gain. However, Priceville would go into the locker room down 7-0. However, it was a tale of two halves as the Priceville Bulldogs complete the undefeated season and win the region with a 35-21 victory over Randolph.
I'm with Priceville's head coach, Chris Foster. Coach, region champions, undefeated. How do you feel?
It feels great. I'm really proud of our seniors. They've worked hard for this moment and they deserve it. They were winners when they were in middle school, and the best thing about it is they've learned from these groups in front of them, you know, what it takes to win, and then they took it a step further and learned what it took to win week in and week out, and I couldn't be prouder of them.
It was a tale of two halves in this ball game. Obviously, you all were shut out in that first half, 7-0. You all ended up putting up 35 points. What changed in that second half?
Well, I challenged them at halftime. I tell you, we were getting knocked around pretty good, and we're supposed to be the physical team, and it wasn't happening in the first half. We didn't play up to our standards, so I challenged them to come back to where we're supposed to be, and they did a great job meeting that challenge.
Coach, Class 4A Region 8 champions, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. And again, the final score in this one is 35-21 as Priceville defeats Randolph. They are Class 4A Region 8 champions, as I just mentioned, and for the first time ever in school history, they finished their season undefeated. But for now, reporting live at Randolph, Xavier Wary, Way 31 Sports.
So a big congratulations to Priceville for claiming that 4A Region 8 crown.
Yeah, another Region 8 showdown taking place tonight was the one at Westminster. The Wildcats coming off of a shootout loss against the Bulldogs, hoping to improve their playoff positioning tonight with the win as they hosted a scrappy New Hope team tonight at home. But one thing that the Indians forgot to prepare for was the play of Brandon Mush. This kid, a walking touchdown. Check out the wheels on the quarterback, weaves through the Indians defense, and he's in for the score. It's a 7-0 ball game just like that, and it wouldn't take long for the Wildcats to get back into the red zone. Hand off to Henry Clunch. He's down the far sideline, He's going to be pushed out inside the 5. The Wildcats would go on to score on their next play and go up 2 scores. New Hope would try to get something going on their side of the ball. Wyatt Bolden scrambling for a first down here, but that drive would stall and Brandon Mush would again take over. He's in for another score here. Westminster Christian looked good tonight as they come away with the win 46-8.
Over to Discovery Middle School, where the JP2 Falcons were searching for their first ever win over the Madison County Tigers. We jump in with the Falcons up 4 before the half, but Madison County is on the move. That's until JP2's Tyler Solotano gets involved, coming up with a huge 4th down stop to get the ball back for the Falcons. And just as active as he was on defense, he was on the other side of the ball, reeling in this pass from Paul Andruski for a Falcons touchdown. That would put them up 11. Madison County would once again look for an answer before halftime, but this time Mason Meadows' pass is picked off by William Pisello. The Falcons would fumble it on the next play, so there was still one last chance before the half for the Tigers, but it would also come up empty. But in the end, it's the Tigers who come away with the victory, 47-31. North Jackson and DAR in action tonight. This matchup has historically been completely one-sided, with the Patriots recording only 1 win against the Chiefs, but this year both teams entered the game with just 1 win. North Jackson eyeing 9 straight wins tonight, and they pull it off 60-7, the final.
All right, staying in Class 4A, moving over to Region 7. Deschler has the region title secured already this season, but playoff spots are on the line. And for the Brooks Lions to clinch their playoff spot and avoid the tie-breaking scenarios, they had to take down the Tigers tonight. The Lions, they came out with some fire in this game. We'll pick up first drive of the game, and it's Keenan Jones that goes to work. How about the big back out of the backfield, breaking tackles and bringing this one all the way down into the red zone. And they hand it off to Isaiah Watson to finish off the drive. The senior does just that, 7-0 Brooks. So Patrick Malone and the Tigers looking to respond, and they do. Hand off to Jakari Blue, slips out of his screen for a moment, but when he's back in frame, he's got a first down for Deschler. And a quick give to Simeon Malone on the goal line results in a score. Deschler ties this one up. In the end, the Tigers come out on top against the Lions 48-32. Rogers, another team hoping that their playoff hopes are still alive for them. They had to take down West Limestone tonight to have the dream of keeping their season alive. And how about Brock Killen getting something going, weaving through tacklers to set up a big first down. Then on the same drive, this time he hands off to Andrew Handback, and he's got some burst through the line of scrimmage and in for the score. West Limestone would try to respond from a solid game from quarterback Colin Patterson behind at center tonight. He gets things going with his legs there, picking up a first down, but then just before halftime, that drive would stall as Patterson's pass is picked off. It's Hayden Holden who jumps in front of this one to come up with the big INT for Rogers as the Pirates get a win at home tonight over West Limestone in a shootout 49-28. All right, so let's take a look at other Region 7 games from tonight. West Morgan, they have their playoff spots locked up with a win over Wilson 61-0, while Central had to win tonight. They do just that. They take down East Lawrence 49-6. Things are getting real bunched up in that 4A Region 7. We'll have to see how that one all plays out. All right, how about we go ahead and call our first time out of the show.
But don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll take you out to Decatur for our rivalry game of the week between Huntsville and Austin.
It's the McCurry Big Game Friday night.
You're watching Big Game Friday night.
It's the McCurry Big Game Friday night.
Welcome back into Big Game Friday night, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. It was a busy night, playoff type of atmosphere across the state, and that was the scenario tonight at our Big Game Friday night rivalry game of the week.
Yeah, that's right. We now turn our attention to 7A, where the Huntsville Panthers were on the road tonight at Austin, hoping to play their way into the 7A playoffs. The scenario for them tonight was simple: take down Austin and get into the postseason. The Black Bears, on the other hand, already region champs, will pick this one up at the beginning of the third quarter. Austin Black Bears kicking off to Huntsville's Huck Hensley, and Hensley runs right, cuts left, finds daylight. He's going to take this one to the house. The Panthers with some momentum out of the break, and they knew the scenario coming into the night. They had to play fearless football, and they do. It's Jack McClung. Back to pass for the Panthers, delivers a dot to Amari Jabbar. He hauls it in. The Panthers have upset on their mind. They go into the Bear Den tonight and leave with the win, 45-31. The Huntsville Panthers are headed to the playoffs for the first time since 2017. And for more on the game, we'll send it out to sports reporter Antonio Macbeth, who was on the sideline.
This was a game that we knew Huntsville needed to win, and it was a game we knew that Huntsville was going to have to earn, and earn it they did. It looked like it was going to be tough in the first half, trailing by 7 at halftime, but in the second half, a big opening kick set the tone, and then big plays on special teams and defense carried this team to not just a win, but a big win that's going to mean a ton moving forward for their postseason. I caught up with Coach Mark Fleetwood to figure out just exactly how it happened. Coach, down 7 at halftime in a game, a big game that you guys have to win. Momentum play after momentum play after momentum play. What in the world did you tell these guys at halftime?
Well, it's just to win our battle. Everybody one-on-one win their battle, and this game would go down to the end. And you know, it starts first play of the game, they go 80 yards with a touchdown. And so it starts off, but you know, we had talked about it last week, adversity when it happens. So really it's a tribute to the coaches and the players and the way they handled this and kept coming back, and we matched scores back and forth, and we never lost that. So I'm really proud. I mean, it's a big step from last week. So, you know, hats off to the way they played and believing, and the coaches and the plan to get the game plan together. It's a neat deal.
And finally, Coach, how cold was that ice bath?
Whoa, goodness! I lost it there for a moment. It's still cold. I've got it hanging off of me so it won't touch me. But it was, that's what it's all about. So it's great.
Thank you so much, Coach. Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you.
And 7A is tight this year at Sparkman tonight. The Senators were hoping to keep their playoff hopes alive with a win over Florence tonight.
And Florence has owned Sparkman, winning 12 of 14 previous meetings, with their last loss to the Senators coming back in 2006. So with their sights set on their 12th consecutive win in the series, the Falcons were looking to impress early. Leo Glover back to pass, and the pocket collapses, but Demarion Vaughn is open and hauls it in with one hand, running the sideline before he's pushed out for a big gain. Florence would face a 4th and short at the end of the drive, and they decide to go for it. Good idea. Glover keeps it and cuts outside. Now he's home free as the Falcons find the end zone first. On the next drive, the Senators would face a 4th down of their own, but this one did not see the same result. Jaleel Hurley there to break it up and force the turnover on downs. And Florence wouldn't waste any time, looking to the skies on the very next play. Glover deep to Kedrick Triplett, and he is a goner. No one can catch him, and the Falcons take a 14-point lead. They would add on even more as they shut out the Senators 21-0. Speaking of one-sided series, it's James Clemens and Grissom, the Jets winners of all 8 meetings with the Tigers, but this game was closer than what the history book showed. We jump in tied at 21. Well, not anymore. Gio Lopez on the keeper, and they take the lead right there. The Tigers would try to respond, though. Javion Roscoe takes the handoff and picks up a 1st down for the Tigers, but that drive would stall, and Gio Lopez would go back to work, throwing one up for A.J. Little to set up 1st and goal for the Jets. And guess what? They're going to go back to the play that worked the first time. Gio Lopez, yes, again, gets across the plane as the Jets take this one 63-27. Bob Jones in Albertville first played in 1994. The Aggies won that night, but the Patriots have taken every single game since, including tonight, as they take this one 42-12.
All right, shifting gears and talking some 6A football tonight. The Decatur Red Raiders have had an awesome season, postseason incoming for them. And tonight they found themselves hosting Buckhorn in a non-region matchup. Still a 6A matchup. We'll pick this one up with Decatur in control, and they would keep it by running the rock. Hand off to Chandler Moore. Check this out. Breaks one tackle and is gone. 33 yards to the house for the Red Raiders. Touchdown Decatur. Buckhorn would be start on their next drive. Then check out the play for Decatur's special team. It's Paxton Duper playing super, diving in and blocking the punt to set up great field position for Decatur, and they would take advantage. Check out my man, Ellis Dickman. Had a great night tonight. He's going to deliver a dot to Dayton Brown. He's on the receiving end of this one as the Red Raiders take this one at home 52-14, the final in that one.
How about a throwback matchup? Arab and Hazel Green haven't met since 2003. That's likely before everyone who played in this game was alive. We jump in with the Arab Knights leading the Hazel Green Trojans by 2 scores. Deep in their own territory, the Trojans punting and recovering it. The ball hits off the foot of Logan Silva and Evan Pullitt is all over it, but their good luck would only last so long. Griffin Fowler finds a way to bring in the bad snap, but then gets strip sacked and Arab recovers, and they wouldn't waste that opportunity, throwing points on the board as Hayden O'Reilly makes his way into the end zone. In the end, it's the Knights who run away with it, 49-21 the final. All right, well, let's go ahead and take our second timeout of the night.
Yeah, but don't touch that dial. Coming up next on Big Game Friday night, we head to Sand Mountain. Guntersville hosting Sardis tonight.
It's the McCurry Big Game Friday night. It's the McCurry Big Game Friday night.
For the product price when you're watching Big Game Friday night on Way 31.
All right, how about that? A big congratulations to the Priceville High School Marching Band for being this week's Flow Air Spirit Award winners.
Yeah, the Pride of Priceville consists of 57 members, and they are a great band to watch this year. They closed out the season as grand champions of the Tennessee Valley competition in Muscle Shoals, so a big congratulations to them.
All right, well, let's get back to some football in Class 5A. The Guntersville Wildcats were hoping to clinch their playoff spot tonight with a win over Sardis at home. Guntersville, of course, hosting Sardis, and the Wildcats looking to get back on track after losses in their last 2 games. The Lions on attack first. Brian Chapman looking for Eli Morton, but he's covered. E.J. Havis tips the pass, and Evan Taylor follows it to the ground for the interception. Wildcats take over. Now in the red zone, street snap to Julian Jordan, and they're in business. Jordan would finish the job taking the direct snap through traffic and into the end zone. He'd finish the night with 4 scores as the Wildcats pitched their 3rd shutout of the season, defeating the Lions 41-zip.
Yeah, to Athens tonight, the Golden Eagles were in action in a non-region showdown against Fort Payne. Homecoming tonight in Athens, the Golden Eagles taking on the 7-1 Fort Payne Wildcats. Athens gets things going with the hot start. Larry Howard takes this handoff and takes off towards the end zone, but Fort Payne's Bennett Banks catches him from behind, but Howard finishes the drive with his touchdown run. Fort Payne would try to strike back in a big way. Dax Varnador drops back and drops a dime to Skylar Cody. Give him 6. It was a back-and-forth battle in the first half, and Athens played their hearts out tonight. Watch the Eagles flock to the ball after tipping the pass. Athens turns that into points right before the half. Marcus Ayala runs it in for the touchdown as Athens runs away with this one in the second half. They pull off the big upset at home, 48-21 over the Wildcats.
Madison Academy got off to a slow start this season, starting with back-to-back losses, but since then, they've been on fire, winning 6 in a row. Tonight, they look to make it 7 against Susan Moore, and the Mustangs were charging from the opening kick. Carson Crehan with time, and he has his man wide open, as the kids say, "That's too easy." Touchdown, Madison Academy. And they tried the ground game since the passing game was working. Ken Cherry on the end around, he goes to the right side, and that works to another score for MA, but letting it fly is fun too, so Crehan lets one rip, Solano Thomas, and hey, that'll work too. Another score for the Stangs. Susan Moore couldn't find a way to stop them as the Mustangs make it 7 in a row with the 56-7 win. All right, well, it's time for us to call our 3rd and final timeout of the night.
Yeah, but don't go anywhere. Coming up next on Big Game Friday night, we will share with you our Big Game Friday night Fan of the Night. Don't go anywhere.
Stay tuned for more Big Game Friday night. Go Indians!
It's the McCurry Big Game Friday night.
You're watching Big Game Friday night.
It's the McCurry Big Game Friday night.
All right, welcome back into Big Game Friday night, everyone. Thanks for joining us this week.
Let's take time now to share with you our Big Game Friday Night Premier Urgent Care Fan of the Night.
I'm Drew Weeks, and I'm the Big Game Friday Night Fan of the Night.
Yeah! All right, congratulations to Drew Weeks. He's currently a senior at Sparkman High School Well, he's not on the field tonight. He will be on the diamond in the spring as a member of the baseball team. So a big congrats to Drew, and thanks for making high school football great. All right, before we go, we would like to just take this time to thank all of our radio sponsors who helped make this show possible. We could not do it without them. And of course, tomorrow brings another busy day of college football, even with Auburn and Alabama A&M on their bye week.
Yeah, that's right. I'll be in Tuscaloosa for the Crimson Tide's matchup tomorrow against Mississippi State as the Tide hope to get back in the win column following that loss at Tennessee.
While on the road at North Alabama, they will look for that first win as a D1 program over a D1 school when they take on Eastern Kentucky.
And finally, Jacksonville State will be back at home when they host Southeast Louisiana at JSU Stadium.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up the Week 9 edition of Big Game Friday Night. Thank you all for joining us this week, and thank you to everyone back in production, our editors, producers, and shooters who helped make this show possible. We really could not do it if it was not for them.
We'll leave you this week the same way we do every week with your Big Game Friday Night Top Lights.
Good night, everybody.
Second and 10.
Watching a special presentation of Way 31 Sports.